Is this the best value Stratocaster you can buy from the Fender Custom Shop? Here at Squealing Pig Guitars, we're on the mission to find the best guitars in the world. Today's specimen is a Fender Custom Shop Super Heavy Relic Fiesta Red over Sunburst. This has to be one of the most unique Stratocasters I've ever seen. So sit back and relax and let's get straight into this Squealing Pig Guitars video. Hello guitarists, welcome back to Squealing Pig Guitars, the home of luxury drum machines here in Nottingham, England. My name is Keightley and today we have a very cool Stratocaster to show you. In today's video, we're asking the question whether this is the best value Stratocaster you can get from the Fender Custom Shop. And you might be asking me, why am I saying this is the best value Stratocaster even though it comes in around £5,000? The reason we're saying that is because this guitar has such a unique look. It looks very similar to a master-built guitar but doesn't come with the master-built price tag. Of course, this is made in the team-built section of the Fender Custom Shop. But its finish is so unique with a Fiesta Red which is aged over Sunburst. And then you can see that grain-filled ash just peeking through. It looks just like a Dale Wilson guitar, it's absolutely crazy. So that's why we're asking the question whether it's the best value Stratocaster. Is this the best team-built Strat you can get, which actually simulates what you'd get in the master-built section? So in today's episode, we're going to be answering that question. And of course, here at Squealing Pig Guitars, our mission is to find the best guitars in the world. And we're going to be doing that through these YouTube videos. So if you'd like to join us on our journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's just down below and it takes 5 seconds. That means you'll be a part of the Squealing Pig Guitars community and never miss a future upload. In order to rate this guitar today, we're going to be rating it on 3 parameters. So the first parameter will be aesthetics, basically judging what I think the guitar looks like and what I'd rate it out of 10. We're also going to be taking it outside of the studio into the sunlight so you can get a bit more of a realistic view of how this guitar would look day to day. Number 2, we have the tone and playability test. In today's episode, we're trialing a new section called the gig test, where we put the 2-up Bloomfield drive on a very high volume and see how it reacts. You'll have to wait till the end of the video to check out the gig test. Of course, we'll also be rating that out of 10. And then thirdly, we have a value conversation. Whether this guitar is truly worth the value, and in this case, in this video, we're going to be talking whether we think it's the best value guitar from the Fender Custom Shop. Of course, each one of them parameters will be rated out of 10, so we'll get a score out of 30, and then we'll divide it by 3 to get the ultimate score for this guitar. Then we'll have a score that we can compare against all the other guitars that we review on the channel. We'll put that on the Squeal board, which is our leaderboard for all the guitars that we review in these videos. So make sure to check out the Squeal board if you'd like to see my other ratings from the other videos. The link will be down below. But enough talking, let's get straight into this video. So firstly, let's pull out the case and take a look at the aesthetics of this awesome Fender Custom Shop Strat. So guys, you know the drill. It's time to open up the case and see what we get inside with this beautiful Fender Stratocaster. So let's open up this tanned 60s case. Oh, we've got a dodgy latch, there we are. Opening it up. It doesn't get old at all. That is a beautiful Stratocaster. Definitely quite the unique finish, as you can see from the B camera. It's kind of like a Fiesta Red over a Sunburst. You've got a 3-tone Sunburst. And obviously this is simulating what a lot of people would actually do in the 60s. They would paint their Stratocasters, and obviously as they played them, obviously that paint would wear off and then the original finish would be seen. But you might be asking, Ben, why did they do that? Well, in the 60s especially, there was only a handful of Fiesta Red Strats that actually made it over. And of course, Hank Marvin actually made the Fiesta Red Stratocaster very, very famous. So a lot of people wanted to replicate that look. So they would paint their 3-tone Sunburst Stratocasters with Fiesta Red. And as a result, you get a guitar that looks like this, where the paint actually wears through into the finish. So it's a very cool simulation. You guys know I love a 61 Stratocaster, so I'm very happy that this is a 60 Stratocaster. The pickups sound great. I love the 3-ply guard, the rosewood fingerboard. It's just a great Stratocaster. But let's see what we get in the pouch of this guitar, because the Fender Custom Shop always do some nice case candy. So starting off, of course, we have the leather-bound booklet, which tells us everything that we need to know about this guitar, as you can see from the close-up cam. As you can see inside, we have the certificate of authenticity and the Floor Traveler. Got a nice little plastic bag full of the ashtray and the kind of paperwork, and we've even got a 6060 Sounds pick in there, so shout out to them guys in London. And then we have one of the coolest straps ever made. These Fender Custom Shop Strats are so good. So that's everything that you get with a £5,000 Fender Custom Shop Stratocaster. You get a little bit of case candy. Of course, the case is very well made. These are the G&G cases, kind of the classic Fender cases. This was made in 2021. So of course, in this section of the video, we're gonna be rating the aesthetics of this guitar. So firstly, let's go outside of the studio and show you what this guitar looks like under sunlight. Obviously in here we have artificial lighting. It does make these guitars look very nice, but let's see what it looks like in a more realistic environment. So here we are, we're outside now, and as you can see, the guitar looks very nice under sunlight. This footage has not been color graded at all, so this is just the raw footage that we get on the auto setting of the camera, so it looks just like it does in person. As you can see, obviously, it's a lovely guitar. It's got really nice grain filled. The sun is making that Fiesta look a little bit more pink, I guess. But yeah, this is what it looks like outside. Real nice aesthetic. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Okay, so we're back in the studio now. It's getting into autumn now, so it's very cold outside. But yeah, let's open up this leather-bound booklet and talk about the specs. So as mentioned previously, it is a 61 Stratocaster. This was made in 2021 on the 19th of February. And in terms of specs, it's pretty standard for what you'd get for a 60 Stratocaster. So we have ash for the body. You can see it's been grain filled so nicely. It's got a very unique look to it. Obviously you've got the Fiesta red over sunburst. Moving on to the neck, obviously it's a maple neck. And then we have a rosewood fingerboard. This one's a slab board, so nice and thick. In terms of neck profile, we have a 60s style C. So it's nice and slim. Perfect for your Stratocaster. We also have the hand-wound poblano set of pickups in this one, so that's probably why I am digging the sound of this one so much. The poblano set has a really nice kind of high output, lots of range of frequencies. You can go all the way from a really bright, almost ice-picky sound, all the way to like a woolly tone, and that's thanks to these tone controls, really good. Of course, we have the standard Fender bridge. We have the 3-ply guard, as it's a 60s model. Moving on, we have the nice kind of clay dots on this one, bone nut and 6-in-line Fender style tuners. Of course, you get the normal kind of Strat headstock. Got the Fender Custom Shop logo on the back here. And what I've noticed with this maple is that we have a little bit of bird's eye and a little bit of figuring on the back and the front of the neck, which looks really, really nice. The relicing of this is very unique. All of the lacquer is pretty much taken off the neck, which I really like, and it's got this kind of slightly dirtied up look. If I put a few pictures on the screen now, you'll see other Masterbuilt guitars that look very similar to this. The relicing is so unique, whether that's the checking or the fact that we've got 2-color finish. It looks very similar to something that Dale Wilson would come up with, or Austin McNutt. What really makes it look like a Dale Wilson is the grain on this guitar. I'll get it in the close-up cam here. One of the viewers of the channel, one of our friends, Dan, has brought in a spruce Strat before. I'll put a little video of that in now. And his one has some really deep ridges, obviously, because spruce is obviously a very deep ridged wood. But it's got grain fill very similar to this. So it actually looks very similar to that Dale Wilson. But of course, this is a team-built Strat and not a master-built Strat. So that's kind of why we're arguing that it is good value, but more on that later. But in terms of aesthetics, I think this guitar looks really cool. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not a massive fan of Fiesta red over sunburst. I'd much rather have like a black finish over sunburst, or maybe a Fiesta red over white or something. I'm not really too sure, but I'm just not a big fan of the 2-color finish, but I really dig the super heavy Relic. This is a very rare occasion where I really love the kind of super heavy Relic. Normally, I'm quite critical about them. So I'm gonna give this guitar a 7.5 out of 10 for aesthetics. I think that's a very kind of reasonable result. It's got a nice dark fingerboard. It looks really nice, and I love the Fiesta red. Just not a big fan of the sunburst, but I love how they've grain filled the guitar. The relicing is very nice, and I think it looks very good outside as well. So now that we've talked about the aesthetics and addressed parameter number 1, we need to now talk about the playability and tone test. So let's plug in the 2-Rock Bloomfield drive and get straight into the tone demonstration. So guitarists, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. For today's episode, I'm using my trusty 2-Rock Bloomfield drive on the lead gain channel, and then on the floor I have a compressor and a tube screamer thanks to the Kemper Profiler. In the intro of today's video, I did my own interpretation of the very famous Luke Skywalker theme from Star Wars. Obviously I'm playing it in A minor, but my whole guitar is tuned down a whole step, because I love Strats a whole step down. It gets that kind of Hendrix vibe. So this is the tone that I had in the intro of today's video. I had a tube screamer on and the lead gain channel. That's the neck pickup. With that tube screamer on, it has such a nice bright tone to it, but of course you can roll down the tone control, get a little bit more of a woollier tone. Which personally I much prefer. And first inspection, this guitar is weighted really nicely and it's a really good resonance for a Strat. I'm sure you guys know from previous videos, but I'm not always the biggest fan of Fender Stratocasters. I much prefer obviously Gibson guitars, and if I'm going for a Strat, I typically go for like a Sir or maybe a PRS, Silver Sky. This guitar is a really nice low action though. The neck shape is really nice. It's got that 60s feel to it. Such palatable tones from that neck pickup, really enjoying it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off the tube screamer and I'm gonna demonstrate the more mellow tones you can get from this guitar. We're gonna be going from position 5 to 1. So this is the neck pickup on a cleaner type sound. First of all, incredible dynamics there. I'm playing with my fingers, I'm playing that kind of rosy theme from John Mayer, and it just has such a nice kind of compressed tone, a classic 60s tone, which I love from Stratocasters. My favorite spec for a Stratocaster is a 60s, and I'm loving the tone so far. Middle. Position sounding really nice with the pick this time. Now on to position 2. So we've got the bridge and the middle. This is kind of the classic Sultans of Swing tone. Really nice sound there. If I pick a little bit harder, you can hear the dynamics. You can almost get into like a crunchy tone. What a tone. I'm enjoying this Strat so much so far. It's got a plethora of usable tones. Sounds good fingerstyle and with the pick. Really enjoying it. And obviously I've got it in D standard if you didn't pick that up already. For me, it just gives that slightly more twangier kind of Hendrix tone. I dropped my pick, sorry. But it gives that kind of Hendrix sound when you used to tune down to D standard. And obviously me being a Gibson softie playing 24.75 inch scale lengths all the time, when I have it slightly lower, whether it's in E flat or D standard, just a little bit easier to articulate on gauge 10s on a Strat. Anyways, bridge pickup, let's hear it. That ice picky, nice tone. Wow, what a tone. I wasn't expecting that from this pickup today. If I bring the tone even further down, you can probably get even more of a moodier kind of country tone. That's with a vibrato pedal. So now it's time to demonstrate the high gain tones. Can you do the neoclassical shreds? Can you do the classic kind of heavy metal Strat tones? Well, let's find out. So we're going to start in position 1, which is your bridge pickup. Let's hear it. Now let's try some heavier riffing. Of course, that bridge pickup is sounding huge, and for me, I have to have that tone control around 4 or 5 in order to get that nice kind of Eddie Van Halen tone, in my opinion. When you have it on the full brightness, it's a little bit too... You kind of more Yngwie Malmsteen there. Whereas I prefer it more like this. The thing is, with single coil in the bridge Strats, you can still get that very heavy kind of thick tone. You just need to use the tone control, and that's why a tone control on the bridge pickup is such a necessity for me. I can't play the vintage Strats that don't have a tone control on the bridge pickup because I think it just makes this bridge pickup useless. They're always too bright to my ear. I prefer that thicker, more woman tone on these Strats. And obviously, with that tone all the way down, you can get... Right, let's finish off on the neck pickup. We're going to do a little bit of Yngwie now just to finish. Obviously, it is a Stratocaster, and I love a little bit of Yngwie. For the final part of this episode, we're going to be doing the gig test. This is a new section we're bringing to the videos, basically where I put a strap on, we turn up the amplifier to a ridiculous volume, and we try to simulate what it actually sounds like in a gig environment. Of course, when you're gigging, there's going to be a lot more sustain, but there's also going to be a lot more feedback and noise. So let's see how this guitar honestly sounds a lot louder. So we're going to be on the bridge pickup, lots of gain. Let's turn up the amplifier. So first off, let's just roll up the volume and see how it sounds. So you can hear there's a little bit of noise there. Obviously, these are single coils, so you're expecting that. Okay, so let's hear it on that bridge pickup. So here's a couple of thoughts from the gig test. Of course, it fed back a lot. You're expecting that, I guess, from single coil pickups, and it was very loud in this fairly mid-sized room. Obviously, if you're playing at a venue which is a lot bigger, you are going to either have some wedge monitors that are feeding back to you, or obviously the front of house. So it's going to be a lot more of a feedbacky environment. Obviously, this is just the 2-Rock Bloomfield Drive. It is a 40-watt amplifier. It is very loud, and you could definitely hear there's a lot more sustain. There was a lot of harmonic overtones, which I really enjoyed playing with the chords. It was definitely a very easy guitar to play at this volume. You might be thinking, isn't that kind of obvious at this price point? From my experience, that's not necessarily always the case. Some guitars aren't built, well enough in order to be played live. Obviously, when you have louder volumes, everything is going to be under a microscope. So you have dirty pots, if your wiring isn't the best, if there's an earthing issue, if there's a buzzing on the fretboard, that's just going to be amplified 10 times more at a loud volume. So I think this gig test is very important to show you, honestly how it sounds at a loud volume. And I think a lot of guitar reviews don't actually, demo the gear in a loud environment. So we thought we'd add this little section to the video. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think from the gig test? So now we need to talk about the rating I'm going to give this for playability and tone. So let's sit down and talk about it. I am beyond impressed with this Stratocaster. What a tone demonstration, really enjoyed that. In terms of playability and tone, let me just put my tuner on so you don't hear the hiss of the amp. I'm going to give this guitar an 8.5 out of 10. It sounds so thick in this D standard tuning. The pickups are very, very versatile. You can obviously get the classic kind of glassy Strat tones, but you can also get the thick, heavy distortion tones if you turn down that tone control. But let's not dawdle any further and go to the outro of this video where we total up the results and give our final full rating of this guitar. So guitarists, it's the end of another Squealing Pig Guitars video. I really hope you've enjoyed this one today. Before I get into my final ratings of this guitar and reveal the rating I'm giving it for value, make sure to leave a like on this video if you have enjoyed. Also, make sure to let your voice be known in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this super heavy Relic Fender Stratocaster. Do you think it's ugly, or do you think it's unique and utterly beautiful? Let me know down below. And of course, if you'd like to join us on our journey to find the best guitars in the world, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. This means you can join the SPG community and you don't miss out on future uploads. So far I've given 2 ratings. I've given a rating for aesthetic and playability. The aesthetic rating was a 7 out of 10, the tone and playability was 8.5, and finally we need to give a rating for value, and that will give us the final score for this guitar. So in terms of value, these go for around £5,000, which is a lot of money for a bolt-on guitar for sure. The reason why we're saying this is such a good value Strat is because it actually echoes a lot of the kind of visuals of a master-built Stratocaster. Obviously you have this very unique finish, this Fiesta red over a sunburst. It's very heavily Relic, obviously it's a super Relic, but this kind of grain-filled ash and the way the maple looks and the way the relicing style is so unique. It looks like a master-built guitar, whether it's from Dale Wilson or another kind of master builder. This actually really reminds me of one of the viewers of the channel, Dan, has a spruce Strat where it has very kind of 3D grain going through it, and this actually looks very similar to his Strat. The fretboard edges are rolled so nicely. It's got really nice speed bump frets, nice rosewood fingerboard. Whether you like the look of it or not is obviously up to you, but this guitar performed incredible. You guys know I'm not normally a big fan of Strats, but this played as good as a master built in my opinion. So bringing that into kind of consideration of the value, I'm going to give this guitar an 8 out of 10 for value. I do believe it's one of the better value guitars you can find in the custom shop, but I don't think it's the ultimate value guitar from the custom shop. You could easily buy a 60s Strat without the relicing, and obviously that would be a lot cheaper, and I can't kind of overlook that. Really, what makes this guitar so unique is the finish, but I don't think that makes it the best value custom shop guitar. But that being said, if you're looking for a master built guitar and you want to save a little bit of money, then you have to go for a super heavy Relic in one of these finishes. This guitar was incredible. So let's total up the scores and give a final rating for this Fender super heavy Relic. So the Fender Stratocaster scores a 7.8 out of 10, a great score for this awesome Relic Strat. And that means it comes in at position number 7, just underneath the Gibson Black Sparkle. But anyways guys, that is the end of this Squealing Pig Guitars video. Make sure to hit that like button and hit subscribe to show that appreciation on this video. But that is the end of this video guys, but as always, this is Squealing Pig Guitars. I'm Ben Keightley, and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode. But until then, keep rocking guys. I'll see you soon.